How do you measure marketing in a world where privacy rules, AI and shifting consumer behaviour are changing the playbook every single day? Because it's no longer as simple as counting clicks or chasing last touch attribution. So today on Tech Talks Daily, I'm joined by Fredrik Skansen. He's the CEO of Funnel, a company helping global brands from Uber, Adidas and ASOS and so many other household names see the bigger picture and truly understand where their marketing spend is working. So my guest today is going to share how Funnel's platform is uniting all 5 layers of marketing intelligence, why brand marketing is regaining its value, and how AI-powered search is creating both challenges and opportunities for marketers everywhere. I think we're all changing the way in which we locate information. Instead of just searching on Google for something, I think many are increasingly asking questions to an AI assistant far away from their browser. And before we begin, I want to pause for a moment for a personal thank you. I was late to the recording today after rushing my 8-year-old collie to the vet, where we learned he has a heart problem. So please keep your fingers crossed for him. It was one of those moments that pulls you sharply out of a routine. But Fredrik's patience and kindness in a situation that obviously meant a lot went a long way. And I think it will also set the tone for a thoughtful conversation today that you're going to hear. But before I get today's guest on, I want to give a quick shout out to Careerist, who are the sponsor of Tech Talks Network this month and all 8 shows that we have here. And it's a message that I'm passionate about. So if you've been thinking, I want to work in tech, but I don't know how to code, then this is for you, because Careerist has built up one of the most accessible paths into tech. Their software QA engineering bootcamp is a great example, because in just 4 months, you'll get live training from experts at Google and Meta, not to mention hands-on practice and even a real remote internship to put on your resume. Plus, you'll work one-on-one with a career coach who will make sure that you're job ready. And here's the best part. QA is in huge demand right now. There are 37,000 plus open roles in the US alone, and average starting salaries go up to over $105,000. Now, Careerist graduates are already working at companies all across the country, and if you don't land a job within a year, you even get your money back. That's how confident they are. But seats for the next cohort close very soon, so please check the link in the episode description and see if Careerist is your launchpad into a tech career. But now, let's get today's guest on. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Yes, I'm Fredrik Skansen. I'm co-founder and CEO of Funnel. And Funnel, it's a company we started building in 2014, and so it's about 11 years old now. And really, sort of the fundamental problem that we discovered then was that, you know, for marketers, there were a lot of companies that were helping them make ads and optimize ads. But when it came to reporting and really understanding your P&L of your marketing, everybody had a spreadsheet. And that's kind of what we originally set out to solve. And since then, you know, it's been a growth journey. We're now 330 people, close to $70 million in annual revenue and, you know, growing well. So, yeah.
It's an incredible journey you've been on. And one of the things I always try and do with my guests is find out more about their origin story. And for my own research, I was reading about how you went from Stanford to MIT and building businesses in the early days of the internet and digital advertising. Tell me more about that backstory and how it led to what you're doing now as well.
Yeah. So, you know, I am an engineer from background and was really focused on robotics and AI early on and studied that, did my master's at MIT. You know, actually originally wanted to make an invention in that area. And I did invent a lot of stuff, but it didn't really help me start a company. So I decided to go out in the real world. I joined a industrial robotics company in Sweden for a couple of years. But then wanted to come back to the US, wanted to also go to business school. So I went to Stanford, spent a couple of years there. And this was back, mid 90s, and then towards the 98, 99 heydays of the internet. But I wasn't quite done with AI and robotics then. So, in 99, when all my classmates, went off school and worked for these fledgling internet startups, I actually went down to LA to El Segundo, worked for Mattel, and wanted to, start, invent and start like AI toy line of business. But then, reality caught up. The internet was going to happen. I went back to the Bay Area, and I started working in the mobile internet in enterprise software there. I did that for 5 years. And then after that, I actually decided to come to London. So I moved to London. I started an e-commerce company there in the automotive industry, and I ran that for about 7 years. And that's kind of, when I first came into contact with digital marketing. It was back in 2004, 2005. So it was kind of like when it discovered Google search was actually a great way to acquire customers, and then sort of, a number of other channels around that. So very, very early in that space, and then also discovered this, actually learned about this reporting problem. We, like everybody else, had a spreadsheet. So that's a little bit of the background. Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely love it. And also what we try and do here every day is demystify an area that people may have heard about. Maybe they want to know more. Maybe they're afraid to ask about such things. So today I want to demystify marketing intelligence, and just to ensure we don't leave anybody behind here. What is marketing intelligence, and what is the current landscape like? Who needs marketing intelligence, and how is it reshaping today's marketing sector, just to set the scene?
Yeah, so marketing intelligence is the product that marketing buys to maximize their marketing effectiveness. So basically, you can think of it as sort of consisting of 5 components. So it really starts. And it's really centered around data. So maximizing marketing effectiveness is really and efficiency is really centered around data. So, but it starts before you create the data. It starts with sort of planning and structure. So sort of media planning, and setting up the right governance rules for your data. Then it comes to really sort of ingesting your data and putting it in one place, making it business ready. And then after that comes sort of the intelligence layer. Then you got the data both business ready and sort of measurement and AI ready. And then, the next step is to actually apply intelligence to understand how to attribute the effectiveness of the different marketing activities that you do. And once you've done that, then you understand basically what works and what doesn't. The next step then is actually to go back automatically in real time, programmatically, and tell the marketing channels what works and what doesn't, which of their campaigns, to send back data to them and tell them, like, look, this campaign actually provides great customers with good margins and long lifetime value and low return rates. Send me more of those. And they will. If you tell them, they will, and you will get better performance. And then finally, it's about reporting and actually seeing your ads in a report and understanding which creatives work best, and kind of really reporting optimized for marketing. So that I would say in a nutshell is marketing intelligence. And if you deploy that is your way to maximize your marketing effectiveness.
And with that scene perfectly set, I'd love to find out where funnel fits into all of this. So tell me more about I think it's a unique data hub. How does that ensure that your customers, including marketing departments of some pretty big brands out there, how does it help them keep track and measure the impact of their marketing spend? Because there's so many big tech buzzwords, and tech can transform marketing, there's MarTech, etc. But the measuring of it, that's something that is very difficult to measure sometimes. So tell me more about that and how you achieve that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So basically, there are many. So marketing intelligence has these 5 components. There are many companies that provide 1 or 2 or 3 of the components. We're quite unique in providing all of them. At the sort of foundation of it is this gathering the data integration, because you need the data, you need all your data, you need it in business ready and machine ready format. We do that with our data hub. That was sort of where we started. It's deployed now, across 2,600 customers, and it reports on about, so digital marketing is about a $700 billion global industry, growing about 10%. So really large and growing really quickly. So, and we report on about $80 billion worth of that marketing. So a bit over 11%. So we really see a lot of the marketing in the world. And we do this for global brands like Uber and Adidas and, ASOS and many others. The key really is that with the data available, you can do all these other things. So you can verify that all your rules are being met, so that there's structure to your data, and then you can actually apply the measurement and attribution. And measurement attribution is very important, as you said. It used to be very different. 7 years ago, we didn't care much about it because measurement in digital marketing was pretty deterministic. If you had the data, you could follow a click, and you put a cookie on the customer, and if they came, or the prospect, and if they came back, you read the cookies. You followed clicks, and you looked at your data set, and you could sort of determine what customers bought what from which channel. But all of that has changed, right? Now, when a customer comes to a website, there is a cookie banner that removes probably half of all the cookies. And then, the big browser providers, they throw the cookies away very fast. So you don't really see very much. And now, as a marketer, there's a new world. And what you really have to do as a marketer is you have to have all your data available in the right format, and then you have to apply data science, AI, algorithms, and machine learning to derive basically what marketing channels drive what result. And that is really where the market is going. That's what's called modern measurement or attribution, and that is what we provide as part of our marketing intelligence platform.
And just to bring to life some of what we're talking about here, I'm not sure if you're able to name any names, but who are some of your partners and customers that you work with? And are there any examples that you can share of how Funnel has been able to improve them and show a real ROI? Because that is a big topic right now on any tech project. And one of the things that stood out to me when I was doing a bit of research is you've recently announced a renewed partnership with one of the world's largest global communications group, Havas, earlier this year as well. But anything you can share around anything I've mentioned there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we, as a business, we work both with advertisers directly and with media agencies. And through we have about 1,000 media agencies as customers, and through them we reach another 60,000 global brands. So, and we work with many of the large media groups. One of them being, as you said, Havas. We just announced a 5-year partnership with them, global, across all their 40 plus offices, and so they are one of our very large customers. On an example of a brand and an advertiser that we work with, and sort of like the journey you can be on with getting your data really in order. I think a great example is a Swedish multi market and omni-channel retailer and brand called Tricot. So it's a clothing brand, and they have about 145 stores across 6 different countries in Europe. And for 10 years, that was $100 million business a year. They did the same thing every year, and it was a great brand, but they didn't really grow. And when they looked at their marketing data, it was really siloed and, in a spreadsheet, and they didn't trust it, and they didn't really know what to do with it. And they deployed Funnel and had kind of a forward-looking marketing team, and that then really started to trust their data. And then their executive team said, look, wow, if this is really going to be the results that we get from this marketing, let's do more of it. And over a course of sort of 3 years, they really invested in the marketing channels that they believed in, and they tripled their business over 3 years, right? So it went from $100 million business to $300 million business over 3 years. And so that's one of these amazing journeys you can do when you maximize your marketing effectiveness and trust your data and really deeply understand which of your marketing channels drive what results and with what sort of marginal contribution and what your optimal budget mix is.
And listening to you today, it's clear that data measurement is crucial to the funnel platform. And I'm curious, do privacy restrictions for collecting data, are they making it more challenging, or are businesses coming to you and saying that it's making it challenging? I'm curious how you navigate around this.
Yes, absolutely. So I think that privacy restrictions from GDPR with banners, privacy restrictions implemented by the browsers, and also by the mobile devices, especially Apple devices, where there's a lot of restrictions on tracking. They basically make it harder to attribute your marketing spend to results, and you have to use data science, machine learning, AI to do so. You can't just sort of rely on reports or deterministic sort of clicks. So absolutely. Now the stakes are higher than ever, because it's almost like digital marketing has become marketing. So over 70% of all spend is digital. But it's harder than ever. And it's not only, it used to be like a data integration problem. That was hard enough for marketing. Marketers aren't sort of data integrators, but now it's a data science and machine learning problem as well. And so the skill sets that's needed, the products that are needed, and the help that's needed are different than they used to be sort of 6-7 years ago.
And with data measurement becoming more difficult than ever, for any marketers listening, should they be prioritizing brand or performance marketing, or neither? It feels like there's a balance needed to be struck between the two here, but what are you seeing?
Yeah, so I think that's a really good question, and it's sort of a journey that we've been on. If you look at the history, sort of the big brands have always been good at branding and brand marketing, and then with a rise of digital marketing and e-commerce, it's really sort of the bottom funnel channels like search and retargeting that have been used very successfully, combined then with sort of the old way of measuring attribution, sort of last click, which favors these channels. But it was better than anything else, because it was so close to the intent, right? That if you search for shoes, you're probably going to buy a shoe, and it worked really well. But most of these channels are now grown, and most online brands are spending so much on these bottom funnel channels, and they're all auction based. So the more you bid on them, the more expensive they get. So they have both an average cost of acquiring a customer, but an incremental cost, and that incremental cost can be quite high. And so what we're seeing when we're going in with our clients and really analyzing their marketing data with machine learning and data science, we are often, not always, but often seeing that there is a lot of benefit to moving some of the spend into sort of top level branding or sort of mid funnel activity. And that brings a lot of that increases the reach, it increases awareness, and it drives a lot of new people into sort of the funnel and further down into these other channels that are closer to the intent. So, and that can have a pretty big impact on growth. If you do that and you do it successfully, you can grow your business by, another 20-30%.
And we have somehow managed to get through most of the podcast without mentioning AI, but that is going to change now because AI does seem to be changing how we find information. Rather than searching for keywords, we're asking AI questions. We have Perplexity recently launching its Comet browser. They even put a cheeky bid in to buy Google Chrome. OpenAI, rumoured to be launching its own browser. What impact do you think this will have? And will Google be able to retain its leading position? Is SEO dead? How does it affect marketers? It's almost a podcast episode on its own, but what you're seeing here.
Yeah, so absolutely, super interesting question and quite nuanced. So yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is that it is definitely affecting search. I think we're seeing that. I mean, I think. There probably are more searches on Google now because you get quick answers, but there are fewer customers clicking through, and many advertisers do report that they get less traffic from search. So that is definitely happening, and there is a shift. Essentially, there is a new generation of search that's happening, and as a result of that, there are also new players. It used to be search was essentially mostly Google and some of Bing. And now, there are a lot of new players in this, and it's shifting very rapidly. And while Google's advertising model for search is very mature, there is yet almost to be an advertising model for some of these news channels, but we are very confident that there will be. It still has to sort of be invented. If you go back, to search, when search started and it was sort of like Yahoo search, it was monetized with a display ad, right? And one of the great things Google did is that they kind of, created these blue links, sponsored links, and it was kind of pretty revolutionary and just allowed them to monetize it to a different degree. And then, Facebook came along. And if you remember Facebook, like originally there was just an ad on the right-hand side, like you were working in your, looking at your friends and talking to them. And there were some annoying ads on the right-hand side, right? But then Facebook invented, two things happened. They invented a news feed and everything went mobile. And it's quite challenging for Facebook because then actually the right-hand side disappeared and they couldn't monetize it. But then they figured out how to put the ads in the news feed, and it was a completely different experience, much more relevant. And Facebook's monetization of their ads suddenly, the revenue went through the roof, right? So I think we will see something similar with the different AI chatbots, that they will figure out a way to somehow monetize this that could be pretty profound. And then, that is good for marketers, because then there will now be, 4 or 5 new marketing channels that they can leverage to get their message across, either by buying it. And then, the alternative is, and your question was, is SEO, is that going to go away? No, I don't think so. I mean, there is a different type of SEO in the sense that, OpenAI, Perplexity, all of these, they also scrape the web and they look at your website and they will also send you traffic. And actually, it's sort of like throwing us back, 15 years, because Google is pretty good at figuring out, when you're trying to game it with SEO. Some of these websites are quite naive, right? So if for example, if we were to put up a table and say, here is Funnel and here are our competitors and this is why we're better, it might well look at it and say, oh, this is a great table. It's very well structured. Funnel looks really good. And then when it answers, it'll say Funnel is great because of these things. It hasn't figured out that we are a vendor. We probably might be a bit biased and so on, right? So, but that's all going to come. I mean, they're going to catch up and put in some of the same guardrails. And we all have to figure out how to appear in these searches. So it's very interesting. I mean, it's all in play. But I think it's going to just make it more rich than ever. And with digital marketing becoming marketing, I mean, there are more and more digital platforms available. It used to be companies spend 40% or something of their budget on TV. Now that's going to YouTube. It's Netflix has a advertising model. Many others will, right? So it just becomes more and more opportunities for digital marketers to leverage different platforms. Spotify has an ads-based platform. You can leverage that, and so I think it just is great possibilities for marketers to be seen in different formats.
And if we did look a little further into the future at the entire marketing sector, how do you see it changing over the next few years? And most importantly, are there any trends or developments that you might anticipate, maybe around AI, or just things that have caught your attention and you're following closely? Anything that you're seeing there on the horizon?
As marketers, we are increasingly using AI. So we talked about like the whole lead gen part of it from a sort of advertising perspective. Ads and image generation is it's just happening more and more with AI tools. Content marketing is happening more and more with AI tools, which makes it harder to sort of stand out. And so, I think there's a profound shifts in marketing and also a possibility to be more one-on-one. I mean, when the cost of generating content goes almost to zero, you can micro-target customers much more within personalized ads and so on.
I think that's a powerful moment to end on. And thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me, share your invaluable insights today. And also, I was late today, so thank you so much for being patient and making sure the conversation went ahead. So I'm going to see if there's something we can do for you now. Some of the biggest names in business, investing and tech have either been guests or might even just listen to this podcast. So is there a person you'd love to have a private breakfast or lunch with? Who would it be and why? We'll see if we can manifest something together, but who would it be?
You know what? I'll give you two people for very different reasons. The first one is Jeff Bezos. I just think this journey with Amazon is so amazing, and it's just. He's just profoundly built a business that is so different. First e-commerce and then Amazon Web Services and just that excellence and growth and building just such a large business. It would be amazing to just understand the insights of all of that. And then, I think separately would be one of the founders or CEOs of one of the big AI labs, like a Sam Altman or somebody like that, who just understand what's going on, the story of how this all started and how it all spun out. I think it would just, I think it would be great to be a fly on the wall and understand like that journey behind the scenes.
Well, we've put it out there in the universe now. Let's see what we can make happen there. And for marketers listening and business leaders, etc., they want to find out more information about Funnel. Where should they go? Where would you like to point them?
So Funnel is funnel.io. And, we're also on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn if anybody wants to reach me as Fredrik Skansen. I would love to be in touch with any marketers who are interested in what we do.
Awesome. Well, I will put links out there for absolutely everything. Make it easier for people to connect with you. We covered so much in a short amount of time today, but just thank you for demystifying a lot of the area there and talk about some of the technology, the better ways of measuring, etc. Pure gold from my side, but thank you for bringing it all to life today.
Thank you, Neil, for having me.
That was Fredrik Skansen, reminding us that the marketing effectiveness isn't about chasing the easiest numbers, but it's about building trust in your data and using it to shape smarter decisions. Whether it's balancing brand with performance or preparing for a future where AI search changes how people find information, the common thread here is that clarity matters more than ever. And I also want to circle back to where we started. I mean, as I said at the beginning of the show, life threw me a curveball today when my collie's health and Fredrik's understanding gave me the space to still have this conversation. And I think it's a reminder that behind every business discussion are human stories. And sometimes it's the compassion in those moments that stays with you the longest. So if you'd like to learn more about Funnel, head to funnel.io or connect with Fredrik on LinkedIn. And as you reflect on this episode, maybe ask yourself, when pressure rises in marketing or in life, what really helps you keep perspective? Remember, techtalksnetwork.com. You can leave me an audio message, leave me a DM, whatever. Please, I'd love to carry on the conversation with you. But that's it for today. So thank you kindly, and I will speak with you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.